Hello viewers, welcome to the Bachelor's course of Population Studies. Today we will discuss about the population as resource. By population, we often mean a collection of people. In fact, in the present module, we will be using population to mean the collection of people living in a geographic area or territory. This is how it is used in the census. But population is also considered as a resource, a human resource. Don't you think so? Okay, what is a resource? It's something that can be used and reused. For example, if we have a book, a pen or a cup, we consider them as a resource as we can use them and reuse them. These are and many more things which are a part of our daily life are extracted, processed or manufactured from the natural resources. But how do these things extracted from natural resources are converted into goods of utility? It's the people who with their physical and mental efforts convert the natural resources into various goods of utility. So, don't you think people or population is a bigger resource? How do we define population? Total number of people inhabiting a specified area or territory. For example, population of a village, city, state, country, world. Total number of people of a particular group, race, class or category. For example, population of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes or religious groups like Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, etc. They come under population. The Government of India created a Ministry of Human Resource Development in 1985 in place of its earlier Ministry of Education and Culture. This suggests that the idea of people being a human resource has gained acceptance. Now, the point is, if resources are things that are used and reused, how can population be considered a resource? Let's talk about all types of goods and facilities. The food grains produced in the field, the goods manufactured in the factories, means of transportation, schools, hospitals, roads and infrastructure, etc. Everything is produced and developed and converted into a resource by human efforts. Without human beings, other resources cannot be developed and utilized properly. Therefore, the number as well as the quality of people collectively is the real and ultimate source of a country. It's important to understand that people as human resource are both an object of development and also a participant in development. There are certain factors which convert people into a useful resource. It is essential that every individual develops to the fullest capability and is engaged in the development process of the country. For that, it is also important to make investments for improving the quality of people. And for this, the country has to invest a lot in the form of improving the health, nutritional status, the education and specialized training and their overall quality of life. What are the factors making population a human resource? What are the factors that influence the role of population as a human resource? You may infer from the above discussion that the education, health and nutritional status of the people and their specialized training determine the quality of population as a human resource. Besides these, there are key socio-demographic factors that have significant impact on the role of population as a resource. These are distribution of population, growth of population, and population composition. Let's understand all these factors. Let's begin with education. The quality of population depends upon the literacy rate, education and skills and training acquired by the people. Education contributes towards the growth of society. It enhances productivity and efficiency of labor and increases national income. Literacy is a very important quality of population. A well-educated and well-informed citizen is an asset to the society. Low levels of literacy are a serious obstacle for economic development. Though literacy rate has improved substantially from 1951 to 2011, still there exists much of a difference in the male and female literacy level in India. The expenditure on education as a percentage of GDP rose from 0.64% in 1951-52 to only 3.11% in 2011-12. Good quality basic education is closely related to economic growth, although it cannot definitively be stated to follow from it. Such education is a foundation for the further skills development in productive employment and is an indicator of future economic growth. Let's talk about health. Health is an important component of population which affects the process of development. There have been immense improvement in health of Indian population since independence. These improvements are the result of the laudable efforts made by government in public health, prevention of infectious diseases and diagnosis and treatment of ailments. Death rates have declined from 25 per thousand population in 1951 to 7.2 in 2011, and life expectancy at birth has increased from 36.7 years in 1951 to quite low in 2011. Despite these achievements, health situation is quite grave in India. Basic sanitation facilities and safe drinking water are available only to 1/3 of our rural population. The per capita calorie consumption is much lower than the recommended level and large chunk of population is malnourished. Let's see what we have achieved in specialization, skills and training. To keep the training relevant, institutional and financial arrangements must build solid bridges between the world of learning and the world to work. Bringing together business and labor, government and training providers at the local, industry and national levels is an effective means of securing the relevance of training to the changing needs of enterprises and labor markets. Institutions to sustain the involvement of employers and workers and their representative organizations are critical to keeping training relevant and ensuring that training costs and the gains of productivity improvement are shared equitably amongst all. A combination of good education with training that is good quality and is relevant to the labor market will do wonders. It empowers people to develop their full capacities and to seize employment and social opportunities. It raises productivity, both of workers and of enterprises. It also contributes to boosting future innovations and development. It encourages both domestic and foreign investment, increases job growth by lowering unemployment and underemployment. It leads to higher wages. When broadly accessible, expands labor market opportunities and reduces social inequalities, which is the ultimate goal of any nation. Distribution of population. You may know that resources, whether natural or any other, are not evenly distributed. For example, natural resources like forest or iron ore or coal are not found evenly in the world and also within our own country. The same is the case with human resources. They are not evenly spread everywhere in the world and their numbers keep on changing. The spread of population over an area may be in a state or the entire economy is known as the distribution of population. Density of population. Population density, that is people per square kilometer in India, was last measured at 435.66 in 2014 according to the World Bank. Population density is median population divided by the land area in square kilometers. Population is based on the de facto definition of population, which counts all residents regardless of legal status or citizenship, except for refugees, that is not permanently settled in the country, which are generally considered part of the population of their country of origin. Land area is a country's total area, excluding land under inland water bodies, national claims to continental shelf and exclusive economic zones. The records of population density 2011 of India states that density 2011 has increased from a figure of 324 to that of 382 per square kilometer, which is considerably higher than the average population density of the world in 2011, which is only 46 per square kilometer. There are also a lot of differences in the population density of the various states in India. While the National Capital Region area NCR of Delhi possesses the highest of the population density in 2011 among the states of India, with the statistics of 11,297 per square kilometer. The state of Arunachal Pradesh has lowest record of population density, having just 17 per square kilometer. Factors affecting distribution and density of population. Why is the distribution of population uneven? Is it human nature that people like to live in the areas where resources are easily available? Yes. These resources may be fresh water, fertile soil, food, shelter, opportunities of work and others. The availability of these resources is influenced by geographical features which cause uneven distribution, and therefore density and distribution of population are also uneven. We can divide the factors which affect distribution and density of population into two broad categories: physical factors and socio-economic factors. Three important physical factors influence the distribution and density of population are relief, climate and soil. Relief represents the differences in the elevation and slope between the higher and lower parts of the land surface of a given area. It directly affects the accessibility of the area. The areas which are easily accessible are most likely to be inhabited by people. For example, plains. Plains are densely populated, and areas of rugged relief like mountains and plateaus are not. If you compare the density and distribution of population in northern plains and those in Himalayan areas, you can find the effects of relief. Climate. Climatic condition is one of the most important factors which affects density and distribution of population. Favorable climate provides convenient living conditions for human beings. The higher density of population is found in the areas where the climate is favorable. But areas with harsh climate, that is areas that are too hot or too cold or too dry or too wet, have lower densities of population. In India, the area having dry climate such as Rajasthan and the areas with extreme cold climate such as valley in Jammu and Kashmir or Himachal Pradesh or Uttarakhand have low density of population. Soil. Human beings depend upon the quality of soil for agriculture. Areas of fertile soil can support larger population. That is why the regions of fertile soil such as the alluvial plains of North India and the coastal plains have higher density of population. On the other hand, the areas with less fertile soils like parts of Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, they have lower density of population. Let us see what the socio-economic factors have to do. The important socio-economic factors are industrialization and urbanization. As you always find, large number of people reside in the area having industries. They also prefer to live in the urban areas, towns and cities. The areas which are rich in mineral resources also attract large population. The mining areas in Jharkhand are very densely populated as these areas support several economic activities and offer lots of employment opportunities. Moreover, the education and health facilities are better in these areas. We are aware that all large cities of India like Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Kolkata and many more have high density of population. Then transportation and communication. Some parts of the country have better transport and communication facilities than the other public utility services than the other parts. Areas of northern plains are very well connected, whereas northeastern areas have comparatively poor connectivity. All such areas where the public facilities are well developed have a comparatively high density of population. Sometimes we find that places of cultural and religious significance are also densely populated. Let us analyze the growth of population. The quality of population as a human resource in any country is greatly influenced by the pattern of population change. The change can be in terms of population growth or population negative growth. Although the population of the world is still growing, there are countries where it is declining. Both the situations of population change have their impact on the quality of human resource. If population grows at a faster rate, it results into an imbalance between population growth and resources of a country. This situation has an adverse impact on the quality of human resource. The Indian population has been growing since long. From a population of 238 millions in the year 1901, it increased to 1028 millions in 2001 and is still growing on and on. This increase in population is more than 4 times within a span of a century. On the other hand, there are countries in Western Europe where population is declining. Why is it so? Let us identify those factors which are responsible for population growth. Factors of growth of population. Population of any country increases or decreases because of 3 main demographic factors, that is birth rate, then death rate and migration. A number of socio-economic factors also influence birth rate and death rate, which ultimately affect population change. However, from the table we can see that in our country the main reasons for rapid increase in population is high birth rate and low death rate. The migration as a factor has rather negligible influence on population growth at the national level. However, it has influence at local and regional level. If you study figure 1 carefully, you will find that death rate has been declining since 1921. The birth rate has also started declining during the same period. However, the decline in death rate has been faster than that of the birth rate. That is why the gap between birth rate and death rate has been widened, leading to increase in population. The decadal growth rate is a vital part of census operations. This gives an overview of the percentage of total population growth in a particular decade. Hence, it is termed as decadal growth rate. As per the report published during 31st March 2011, India showed a decadal growth rate of 17.64% for the entire population as compared to 21.15% in the census of 2001. The report says that during the last decade of 2001 to 2011, population of India grew by 181 million. According to the Census of India, Ministry of Home Affairs, this decade is the first decade post Indian independence which added least number of people to the country's population. So, that is a good sign. The percentage of decadal growth in the nation for the first time showed a decrease by 3.90% since the present census of India 2011 has registered the rate to be 17.64% from the rate 21.54 in the earlier census of 2001. Population composition. We have studied distribution, density and growth of population so far. You would have been able to understand that the net effect of the difference between birth rate and death rate determines the pace and trend of population change. This net effect also demonstrates the composition of population, which is an important factor influencing not only the pace of population growth, but also the quality of population as a human resource. What is population composition? Population composition is the description of population defined by characteristics such as age, sex, rural, urban or literacy status. We shall therefore try to understand the following aspects of population composition in India. These are age composition, sex composition, rural urban composition, literacy. First of all, age composition. the age composition of population has significant implications for the current and future development of a country. Population has been traditionally divided into three broad age groups: children 0 to 14 years, adults 15 to 60 years, and old more than 60 years. Population of the old and children put together constitutes the dependent population. When the number of dependent population increases, the dependency ratio goes up. As a result, the country has to invest more on the growth and development of children and welfare of the old people. Otherwise, the same resources can be used for other productive purposes. Adolescents as a distinct population group constituted almost 20% of the total population in India in 2011. The National Population Policy 2000 identifies them as an underserved population group because their needs have not been specifically addressed so far. Sex composition. It is a very significant indicator of the quality of population of a country as a human resource. In fact, primarily it is understood on the basis of sex ratio. Sex ratio is defined as the number of females per thousand males. It is an important social indicator to measure the extent of prevailing equity between males and females at a given point of time. Sex ratio should be favorable, but in our country, sex ratio has always remained unfavorable to females, and the matter of concern is that it has been declining. In the year 1991, there were 972 females per thousand males, and in 2011 it has come down to 940 only. Rural urban composition. India has been a land of farmers and a country of villages. In the recent decades, it seems we are moving rather fast towards urbanization, along with its consequences such as shortage of housing, water, electricity, and encroachment of environment. The table given on the screen shows that the absolute increase in population is more in urban areas than in rural areas. Then the literacy rate. How important is literacy? Literate and educated population is an asset for any country. Mere population can't be a resource if can't be used for productive purposes. As defined in the census report, a person aged 7 and above who can both read and write with understanding in any language is treated as a literate. Literacy rate in our country was just 18.33% in 1951. It has increased to 65.37% in 2001. After the 2011 census, the literacy rate in India is found to be 74.04%. Compared to the adult literacy rate, here the youth literacy rate is about 9% higher. Today, the female literacy levels according to the literacy rate 2011 are 65.46%, whereas the male literacy is over 80%. To conclude, we can say population, in fact, overpopulation is always considered a problem. In a developing country like India, the population is more than 1 billion and is still growing. Population is quite often seen as a liability, a major hindrance to development and quality of life of the people. But is it true? Let's think and understand. Can population not be an asset, a resource for the country? Though population size and distribution of a country can be affected by its physical and socio-economic factors, growth of population can be checked by keeping birth rate and death rate and migrants under control. India, with huge chunk of world's young population, can be a world leader in production, consumption as well as innovation. Our population can be a great asset for us than a liability. This is all for today's lecture. See you next time. Till then, take care and bye-bye.